is Sophie Koko Gate, and I'm an animation director. I make short films, and I also work commercially as a director as well. How would I describe it? I think someone else described it quite well the other day, actually. I had to do a talk in Cardiff, and the other speaker described it as wet and nasty, which I really liked. Yeah, I think it's really hard to describe your own work, but wet and nasty is a good way to describe Slug Life, because it's, I mean, there's always like a visceral quality to my work that I try and get out of it, and it is almost always wet or sweating, or like there is like a liquid element to all of my work. And nasty is such a good word to describe anything, I think, especially when you like try and own that word a little bit, because I don't necessarily intend to make my work look ugly or like unappealing, but it just comes out that way, and I just think, and people tell me that my work is ugly. I don't think it is. But if you then just like try and own that for yourself, I think it's quite like a nice thing to do. I wanted to make a film that celebrated female independency in a way. Even though she is making herself a partner, I didn't want her to... I was just kind of interested in making a film that was about like women just hanging out and making their own pleasure, and a pleasure that isn't derived from like finding a man, or like you know, the classic kind of female on-screen personalities are you know, they're bitching or like gossiping or fighting with each other, and that doesn't really happen with the women that I hang out with, and I don't really think it happens to many groups of friends. And I know that that's a very small part of the film, the three women hanging out, but it was important to me. I'm rambling now. Yeah, I wanted to make a film that was about a woman finding her own pleasure, and that pleasure being disposable, and also her being able to generate more if she needed to. Yeah, that's a really tough question to answer, because how do you choose what you're going to work on for maybe like six to 8 months, you know, of your life, and you always question that as well when you're making the film, like, did I choose the right idea? But I guess at the time, so the reason that I made the film is because I saw a video of 2 banana slugs having sex online, and I found it really erotic, and I thought it was yeah, I was really interested in it, and then at the time also there was like lots of things happening. The Shape of Water coming out, and there's this book called The Pisces by Melissa Broder, I think her name is, and just all these other things. And the storylines were about women who fell in love with some kind of mythical creature, or hybrid of like animal and human, and everybody was really fascinated about this idea, including myself. But I didn't like the fact that in these storylines, the woman always had to kind of compromise her entire genetic makeup in order to be with this other perfect creature. And I wanted to like do like a spin-off kind of version on this theme that kept popping up in popular culture. So my style is has been called ugly, like I said before, but I think the reason that it looks the way it does is because I'm really not that good at drawing lifelike things. So especially when it's something that I have to just get from my imagination, and I don't look at any reference photos. That's how I do all of my illustration. I don't ever look at like reference images, and the things that come out just like, to me they look correct, but to other people they don't. And I think that's just how my style has developed, just like playing on the strangeness of of drawings when you don't reference what they actually look like. And I guess the way that the shade and texture and color things as well. I used to do quite like flat line animation, just 2D flat stuff when I started at the RCA, which is where I did my first film. But I just get bored really quickly, and I quite like pushing the software that I use to its limits. So at the moment, I'm still using Photoshop, and it's killer. It's so painful, and I think I'm done with it now. But I've managed to use it to like make the aesthetic that I want. It just takes a really long time. So I want to make my 2D drawings look 3D in a 2D software. And it is very time consuming, but I like the way that it looks, and I think it's worth the effort. I am now going to start using 3D software though. I just need to find the time to learn it. So everything starts in sketchbooks. I can't really make ideas on the computer. I find it very uninspiring to sit in front of a big shining screen. So the drawings start off on paper, and then I translate them in Photoshop, and then I animate in Photoshop. I composite in Photoshop sometimes, although like for more complicated shots I use After Effects, but only like a very small amount of like compositing is needed in my work. So and then I edit it in Final Cut. So it does vary. I think I'm not a big fan of animatics. I think that they tend to kill the soul of a lot of my filmmaking, at least, because when you're asked to make the majority of the film, all the most important stuff that goes sorry, let me say that again. The most important part of the filmmaking process is the part where you work out what's going to happen and how long each shot takes. And it just seems crazy to me that you do the most important part in such a small space of time, and it often feels like you're rushed into having to finalize that bit of the process. So for me, I like to have like beats of the film. So I'll have like the first shot, for example, and then I'll know where it has to go and how it has to end. Although sometimes I don't even have an ending to my films until the last minute. And then I like to just start animating, and while I'm animating, that's when a lot of my best ideas and also writing takes place. So it's quite a terrifying process, to be honest, but it's just how I like to work. And I find that if I was forced to do it the other way, which I kind of was for Slug Life, because it was partly funded, very small amount of money from the BBC, and so I was forced into making a storyboard and an animatic, and I made a fake animatic, which it did actually help me, but I do think it killed some of the vibe of what I was going for. I like everything to be fresh and always exciting. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I guess I wanted to be in control of everything that I was making. Being part of a team is great. Like I love the social aspect of working in a studio. I've done like a small amount of like freelance work in studios before, and you know, you do feel like a normal human being with a life, and you wake up and then you have breakfast, and then you go and like you have banter and you chat with people, and it's very nice and lovely, but it doesn't suit me that well. Animation for me is like something that I have to do, otherwise I don't know what else I would do, if you see what I mean. It's more of a therapeutic thing. And why do I make short films? I just think animation is the perfect art form. It's like you can. I did do illustration. I started off as an illustrator, but I just never felt satisfied with the image that I was making. It just felt like it always felt unfinished, or I never liked just drawing something and then that was it. It's just like existed, and people would look at it for a second and then it was dead. But with animation, you have control of absolutely everything. The sound, the timing, the way it looks, the way it feels. You are like the creator of your own universe, and it's amazing. I think I would like to inspire more women to make creepier work. That's something that is important to me. I feel like women are such creeps, but they're not really given a chance, or they don't feel like they can express their inner creep that much. I feel like they're often like the female voices. It's happening a lot more in like TV and films now, where you see these female characters that are strange and complex, and they don't just talk about boys, and they don't do the usual stereotypical female film roles that they're given. And I would love for like other female directors or animators to watch my films and then want to make work about their own inner turmoils and inner like dark feelings that they have. That's what I want people to take away with. I think it's easier to make something that's beautiful and pleasing than to make something that's ugly and pleasing. I think that there's like quite a nice. I personally like it when I watch a film that's not stereotypically beautiful, but I can find some beauty within it. That's even though it's quite jarring to look at. When you make the audience work for something, that's quite interesting, isn't it? Rather than just like showing them a beautiful sunset and them going, ah. I mean, I wouldn't say that I have important messages that I want to share with the world, because I don't like preachy films. I don't like it when there's like a very obvious direct reason for the film being made. But I hope to continue making these films, and for them. So basically, all the films do exist in the same world, in the same space, and all the characters are reused in everything that I make. So I guess, like, for me, it's quite nice to just kind of step out of my own world and then go into this world where I've created everything, and it's got everything that I like in it, and all the characters are from different personalities that I've come across, and I've put them into these characters, and I can just like hang out with them if I want, and it's like a good way for me to express myself. It's not there's no like I said, there's no direct message, but I would just like people to watch my films and enjoy them and feel either inspired or provoked to make things as well, because humans are so weird and strange. This is the way that I express what's inside me, but and other people have other ways, and I just think it's important to inspire that in other people, and I hope that that's kind of what I'm hoping for, in a way. I guess it's quite hard to think about why you do what you do. I just know that I couldn't think of doing anything else. And now that I'm so into this other kind of parallel universe that I've made, like I'm really enjoying it, and I just want to see what happens as the characters evolve and as I also grow up a bit, and maybe there will be themes that come into my work that I can express through all these tools that I've gathered. And yeah, I just want to keep making my stuff.